Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what will happen when we don't handle an exception in Java? Let me answer. When we don't handle an exception in Java, the Java program will stop at the line where we got a runtime error or exception while running the code. Okay, the remaining lines of code followed by the line where we got the exception won't be executed. Okay. So how to handle an exception in Java using try catch block? That's the only way to handle an exception in Java or runtime error in Java that actually comes in the during the runtime. That is while executing the Java code, you will get that kind of runtime errors or exceptions in the output. Okay. When such kind of exceptions occurs, what will happen? The program execution will stop there itself at the line where the exception has occurred, and because of which the remaining lines of code in the program won't get executed. So this is the answer for this question, guys, theoretical way. But let me show you or prove you this in a practical way that what will happen when we don't handle an exception in Java. The program execution of the Java will stop at the line where the exception has occurred, and the remaining lines of code after that particular line which has thrown the exception won't be executed. Okay. So for that, I'll switch to the Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as 2 with main method. And I'm going to write some Java code which will result in a runtime error or exception at a particular line. Okay. So int a is equal to 10, I'll write. Int b is equal to 0. Int c is equal to a divided by b. Okay. If I try to divide a number by 0, what will happen if you try to divide a number 10 by 0? It will give you an exception, a runtime error in the output. Okay. So Java compiler will not give you any error here saying that you are trying to divide a number by 0. But when you run this code, in the output while the program is running, you are going to get a runtime error at this particular line 9. And because of which the program execution is going to stop at this line 9. And because of which the remaining lines of code, like it may be as simple as this print statements after this line 9, will not be executed. Okay. These lines will not be executed. In order for them to be executed, we have to handle this exception. Here in this case, now it has been moved to 10th line. This line has to be handled. Exception handling should be done for this particular line where we have to handle this exception using try catch blocks. Here in this code, I'm not handling the exception. Hence, when I run the code, and as you are dividing a number 10 by 0, which is not possible in Java, you are going to get an exception at the line 10. It's runtime error. The reason is you're trying to divide a number by 0. And the remaining lines of code, like which have to print ABC, are not getting printed. The values of ABC are not getting printed because the execution has stopped at this line. That's the answer for this question, guys. What will happen when we don't handle an exception? The line which gives an exception will stop the execution of the code here, and remaining lines of code won't be executed. So what if we handle the exception like this? What if we handle the exception? Catch, I'll just say arithmetic exception E and system.out.println arithmetic exception got handled here. Okay, like this, I'll write the code, and here C is local to this try block, so I have to declare it. And I have to remove this. And now I have to initialize it with some value because initializing is being done in the try block, which is whose scope of the initializing is within the try block, and outside the try block, the C will not see that it has been initialized. So we have to assign some value to the C to initialize it so that things will work fine. Now run the code, you will see that the program execution will continue because we are handling the exception with the help of try catch block, because of which the remaining lines of code will also get executed. Now hope you understood what will happen when we don't handle an exception in Java. Program execution will stop at the line where exception has occurred in the program, and remaining lines of code after that particular line giving an exception won't be executed. Okay. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the scope of the variable created inside the try block or catch block in Java? Let me answer. Whether it is a try block or whether it is a catch block or whether it is a finally block, doesn't matter, guys. When you create a variable inside this try block or catch block or finally block or any other block in Java, The scope of the variable is up to that block only. Outside the block, if you try to access such variable, you are going to get a compiler error saying that the variable A cannot be accessed or some kind of error you will get. Okay. You have to create a variable like that, some message will come. Okay. So the scope of the variable created, that is created inside these blocks like try block, catch block, or any other block in Java is up to the block only in which it is created, guys. Outside the block, we cannot access that variable. Let me practically demonstrate this for you. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as 3 for sample with main method. Now, I'm going to write some code inside this main method. I'll just write a try block here. Okay, try block. And inside the try block, I'll create a variable. Okay, I'll create a variable outside the try block. Let's say int a is equal to 10. Here inside the try block, I'll say int b is equal to 5. Okay, now if I try to access this system.out.println, system.out.println, inside the try block, if I try to access this variable a and b, I can access, guys, not a problem, because this variable is created inside the method and outside the block. So I can access this inside the block. Okay, not a problem. And same way, I can access this variable b because it is created inside the block only. Now I'll create some catch block here. Here I'll say exception E. Okay, catch block exception E. And here also I'll create a variable int c is equal to, let's say, some 9. Okay, here if I say system.out.println a, I can access a, system.out.println. If I try to access b, you see the variable is created inside the try block. So the scope of this variable b is up to this try block only. Even in catch block, you cannot access. You see, b cannot be resolved to a variable. It's asking us to create a fresh variable, okay? Because it cannot see what variable got created in the try block because catch is another block, okay? So I commented it out because I'm getting an error. Similarly, if I say system.out.println c, I can access this because this variable is created inside the catch block. The scope of this variable is up to the catch block in which it is created. The scope of the variable b is up to the block in which it is created, that is try block, whereas scope of the variable c is up to the block in which it is created, that is catch block, and the scope of the variable a is throughout this method, guys. Okay, throughout the method you can access. So if I try to access this variable a, b, c outside this try block, I can access a easily because a is directly created inside the method. It's a local variable for this method. Throughout the method, this variable can be accessed. Whereas if I try to access b, I cannot access. The reason here is b is local to this try block. B variable is created inside the try block, hence we cannot access. System.out.println c, I cannot access c also because c is created inside the catch block and it's local to the catch block. Okay, hence b and c cannot be accessed outside the blocks. So hope guys you got the answer for this question with practical demonstration, right? What is the scope of the variables or variable that is created inside the try block or catch block in Java or any other block in Java? The scope of the variable created in such kind of blocks in Java is up to the block in which they are created. Outside the block, if you try to access, you are going to get compiler errors and you cannot access them. Okay, with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, how to represent a file in Java. Let me answer. In order to represent a file in Java, we have to use a predefined class known as file class. Let me now practically demonstrate how to use this predefined class known as file class for representing any file in Java. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE where I'm going to create a new class. I'll just right click and create a new class. And here, I'll just give the name of the class with some random name, say 4. And I'll create a main method inside this class. Now, I'm inside this class containing the main method, right? The main method here. Now, in this program, in this Java program, I would like to represent a file. Which file? Let me first create the file, guys. Okay, I'll go to one of the location in my machine. Let's say downloads folder. Here, I would like to create a new file, some sample file. It can be any file, guys. I'm going to create a text file otherwise. Okay, I'll just give the name as Arun. Okay, my name, arun.txt file. So here inside the text file, just for sample, I'll add some text, guys. Okay, it's not compulsory to add the text, but I'll try to add. Okay, my name is Arun Muturi. Okay, like this, I'll add some text. then file, save. I'll save the file. Now file is created properly. Now this particular file which is there in my machine, I would like to represent here. Okay, in this Java program, I would like to represent this arun.txt file. What to do? To do that, we have to create an object for a predefined class in Java known as file class. So new file like this, we have to create an object. Okay, new file, import this file from java.io package. And inside this constructor, provide double quotes and provide the path of the file. What is the path of the file? Right click on this file, select properties option. You will get the path here. Copy this path. You see, before copying, while you are copying here, it has single backward slash. But when you copy and paste into the Java programs, it will be copied as double backward slash because single backward slash will not be considered by Java program, guys. If you try to provide a single backward slash, you will get this kind of error in Java programs. So we have to provide double backward slash. This is an escape sequence we can call. Okay, this one we can call it as escape sequence. In Java programs, if you have to write single backward slash inside the string, double quote string, then instead of single backward slash, you have to provide double backward slash so that it will consider it as single backward slash. Okay. So simple thing is that inside the string text, if you want to represent or write down a single backward slash, then provide double backward slash, which becomes a single backward slash. Okay. It will treat it as a single backward slash. It's one of the escape sequence or character we have in Java, guys. Okay. This double backward slash represents a single backward slash. Though here when you copy it, we have only single backward slash, but after copying, how we are getting double backward slash? Here the ID editor, okay, Eclipse ID editor is very smart that it understands that if you copy single backward slash, Java will give you the compiler error. So what it has done is it has automatically converted for us in a so that we don't have to go manually and update each and every single backward slash to double backward slash to represent a single backward slash inside the string text in Java. Okay. Now here after this downloads again provide double backward slash and now come back and here give the name and extension arun.txt, copy that and paste it here. Paste it here. Okay. This is how we have to represent a file. Now we have created an object, right? Using the new keyword, we have created an object for this file and the path of the file also we have given. And we can create an object reference to refers to this particular object for this file. So I'll just name this as file. Okay. File1, some name I'm giving for the file. And I have to declare this file1 with file. This is how we have to represent a file in Java case. Okay, if you want to represent a file in Java, this is the methodology or this is the statement that you have to write. We have to create an object for the file class and in the file constructor, we have to provide the path of the file that you want to represent. And in addition, once the object is created for this file class, we can refer to that object using this object reference. You can give any name and that object reference you have to declare with the file predefined class again. And this file class is from java.io package. So hope guys with practical demonstration, I've shown you how to represent a file in Java. Okay, using file predefined class, we can represent a file in Java. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is how to represent a folder in Java. Let me answer. In order to represent a folder in Java, we have to use a predefined class known as file. File is a predefined class in Java. By creating an object for this file predefined class, we can represent a folder in Java. Let me practically demonstrate this for you. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE and create a new class, a fresh new class, some random name, let's say 5. And I'll just create the main method inside the class. Once the class and method got created, main method got created, inside this main method, I'm going to create an object for the file predefined class. So the reason why I'm creating an object for the file predefined class is I would like to represent a folder. But here, as you can see, the moment I say new and file, I create an object and this constructor having the circular brackets, okay, cannot be empty, guys, okay? This constructor cannot be empty. Here, we have to provide or specify the path of the folder that you want to represent in Java programs. In Java programs, if you have to represent a folder, then you have to create an object for the file class and in the file constructor, we have to pass a path of that folder. So for now, first I will go and create a folder, guys. Okay, let's say I'll just name this folder as sample folder. Okay, name of the folder I'm giving as sample folder. This folder I would like to represent. In this folder, nothing is there though. Okay, this folder I would like to represent in the sample folder. I would like to represent in the Java programs. For that, I'll right click on this folder and select properties. I'll get this properties dialog. Sample is the name of the folder and properties is the dialog. In the general tab, you can see the location. This is the path, guys. Copy this path and come back here and paste it as it is. But if you observe clearly, guys, okay, when I copied this, it has a single backward slash, but after I copied this, it got automatically converted into the double backward slash. The reason here is, for example, if you create a string in Java, string str is equal to, here if I say around slash motor, if I say, I'm going to get a compiler error. This is not allowed, guys. Single backward slash is not allowed in Java, guys. You see over the mouse, invalid escape sequence. Okay. If you want to really represent inside the string text, if you want to really represent a single backward slash, you have to write double backward slash. This double backward slash is nothing but a single backward slash. Okay. This is escape sequence we have to use. There are several escape sequences and double backward slash is one of the escape sequence. When you provide double backward slash, it is equal to the single backward slash. Okay. So, but the path is something like this, right? The moment I copied the path, it was like this. C colon single backward slash. But this kind of thing, if you have to provide inside the string text as string text, it's Java will not allow you. So Eclipse IDE is so smart that the moment you copy pasted it here, it automatically converted the single backward slash to the double backward slash, because if you don't do that, you're going to get a compiler error. Okay. So this is a representation of a single backward slash. Okay. So that's the main thing you have to understand. And here double backward slash and name of the folder I will give. The name of the folder is sample folder, right? It's also there on the dialog, guys. You see the name of the folder is sample folder. I'll just give the name of the folder. So I gave the path of the folder, guys. Okay. And here I'll import this file predefined class from java.io package. This will represent a folder in Java. Now using new keyword, we have created an object for the file class and for the file constructor, we have uh, pass the path of the folder as an argument. Now to refer to this object created for the file class, we need an object reference. I'll just simply say this as folder one is the name of the object reference, and I have to declare this folder one with the same file class. Okay. You see, this is how in Java we have to represent a folder, guys. Okay. This is a statement in Java we have to write using the file predefined class by passing the path of the folder to this file constructor of the file predefined class. We can represent a folder in Java. So hope guys with practical demonstration, you understood how to represent a folder in Java. By using the file predefined class, we can represent a folder in Java. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, how to represent a file in Java which is outside the project. Let me answer. In Java, in order to represent a file which is outside the project, we have to pass or give the full path of the file. First, we have to create an object for the file predefined class, and in the file constructor, we have to pass the full path of the file. Then we can represent a file in Java which is outside the project by following this approach. Let me practically demonstrate this for you so that you will be able to understand the answer for this question in a better way. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE, and here I'm going to create a new class. I'll just name this class with some random name, say 6. Okay. Here I'm going to represent a file in Java program. This is a Java program. In this Java program, I'm going to represent a file which is not there in this project. Okay. As you can see, this is a Java project that I'm writing the code in. Okay. In this Java project, we don't have any files. But the file that I want to represent in this Java project, Java program is outside this particular project. Okay. So how to represent such kind of file? So first we have to create an object for the file class. File is equal to new file. Like this, we have to first create an object using the new keyword. We have to create an object for the file class and import this file class from java.io package. Now this constructor cannot be empty. In this constructor, we have to pass the argument as full path of the file which is outside this particular project. So here in my machine, I'll take you to one location where you can find one file. For example, arun.txt file. Arun.txt file is a file which is there in the downloads folder. I would like to represent this particular file in this program. So for that, I need to give the full path of this file, guys. Okay, since this particular file is not there in the project and it's outside the project, I have to select properties. And here I need to copy the path of this file, copy this path and come back here and paste it here. Okay. The moment I paste that, here single backward slash will be automatically converted into the double backward slash. Why? Because in Java, inside the string text, you cannot provide a single backward slash. If you provide, you'll get a compiler error like this. String literals in Java will accept only double backward slash. This escape sequence, guys, though there are double backward slash here, it is representing single backward slash only. Okay. The paths in Java programs should have single backwards, double backward slash instead of single backward slash, where single backward slash in the string literal is not accepted and will give you compiler error. Okay. So you don't have to do any work here because Eclipse IDE is very smart that the moment you copy this file path from here, right click, and then say properties. And when you copy this file path from here, and which has a single backward slash, when I paste it here, Eclipse IDE is automatically converting the single backward slash to the double backward slash. Okay. So now here I have to say double backward slash again after the downloads folder. And in that, the name of the file with the extension I have to give arun.txt here, right? The same thing here. Okay. So this is how we have to provide the full path of the full file path of this file, which is outside the project. Okay. If you want to represent a file in Java which is outside this Java project, then we have to give the full path of that particular file that is there in your machine like this, in this way. So then that will be possible. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. That is how to represent a file in Java which is outside the project by providing the full path of the file to the file constructor. We can do that. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, how to represent a file in Java which is inside the project. Let me answer. In order to represent a file in Java which is inside the Java project, we have to create an object for the file class, and in the file class constructor, we have to pass the shortcut path of the file. We don't have to pass the full path of the file. Rather, after the project, within the project, whatever the path of the file is there, that shortcut path only we have to provide. We don't have to provide C drive and all those stuff. Okay. Directly under the project, what is the location of the file we have to provide, which is the shortcut path of the file. Okay. In order to represent a file in Java programs, which is inside the Java project, this is the thing we have to follow. Let me practically demonstrate this one for you so that you'll be able to understand the answer for this question in a better way. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class here. I'll just name this class as 7 randomly. And with main method, I'll create. Once I create the main method, inside the main method, here I would like to represent a file in this Java program. The file is there inside this. Let's say the file is there inside this Java project. For now, I'll first create a file. I'll just select right click on the project, create a file. I'll just name the file as my last name, let's say moturi.text or txt. Txt is the extension of the text file, right? Moturi.txt. Under this project, I'm creating this file. The moment I create this file, you see the file got created. My name is Arun Moturi. For sample text, I'm typing into this particular moturi.txt file. Okay. Now close this. Now the file is created here. Now what I want to do here is, I would like to represent this particular file which is directly created under this project. How to do that? For that, we need to create an object for the file class. File is equal to new file. Like this, we have to create an object for the file class using the new keyword, and then import this file class from java.io package. And in this file constructor, we don't have to give the full path of this. If I right click and select properties, I'll get the complete path of this file. You see, C drive and all the stuff and moturi.txt you are getting, but you don't have to give that entire path. So this particular file, that is moturi.txt, is directly there under this project. It's directly there under this project. So in this project, if I expand this project, I'll get this moturi.txt file. This file is not there under any folder of this project. Directly under the project, we have this file. So we can directly give the name of the file with extension, in this case, txt. That's it. Okay. This is how we can represent a file in Java which is there inside the project. Okay. So in real time, we prefer to create the files within the project. Why? Because when this particular project is copied and pasted into your friends or colleagues machine, along with the project file also will go. And also here we have not given the full path. So no matter what your friend or colleague will copy into C drive or D drive, doesn't matter. Under the project, wherever the file is there, that file path we have given here as a shortcut way. So this thing will work not only in your machine, but after your friend or colleague copies into his or her machine, then also it is going to work. This is how we can represent a file in Java, which is there inside the Java project. Okay, not outside the Java project, within the Java project. If the file is there, we can provide the direct shortcut path of the file starting from the project name. Okay, under the project name, we can start. Okay. So hope guys you got the answer for this question with practical demonstration. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, write a program in Java to print the Java project path. Let me answer. In Java, in order to print the Java project path, we have to write this statement known as system.getProperty, and to this getProperty, we have to pass user.dir. Here, system is a predefined class in Java and it has a lot of predefined methods. Here get property is one of the static predefined method of the system class. Hence we are able to call this method directly with the class name system.getProperty. And one more thing that you have to remember is to this get property predefined method of the system class, we have to pass user.dir in double quotes. Then what will happen when you pass this user.dir property? The value of this property is nothing but the project path will be written by the get property method. Okay. And we can later print it out using system.out.println statement. Whatever the path of the project, we got it as a return of this get property by passing this property name user.dir, right? That thing will print using the normal print statement in Java. Okay. With practical demonstration, I'm going to answer this question for you so that you will be able to understand the answer for this question in a better way. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE. Here, already I created one class known as name 8 and random class. Inside that, a main method is already created. Now here, I would like to write the statement system.getProperty. Just go with this get property one, okay? And here double quotes, and in that provide the property name that you want to retrieve, user.dir. The moment I pass this, the get property method will return you a string, which is nothing but the path of the project, guys. Whatever the Java interview questions project name is there, right? The path of this particular project. If I right click and select properties, you will get the path. You can see the path here. C drive in that some folder, and Java interview questions is the path of the project. That path can be retrieved dynamically with the help of this get property name by passing the property name as user.dir. Now get property will retrieve you the path of the project. You can store that into a string project path. I'll say project path. I'll print out this project path, guys. Okay, system.out.println and simply say project path here. I'll print out this project path and run this code. The moment I run this code, you will see that in the output we'll get the project path, guys, path of the project. Okay, you see whatever the path of the project is there, Java interview questions in my machine, in my local machine, in my computer, wherever this project is created, right? That project path is coming here. Okay, so using this statement, we can retrieve the path of the Java project in the Java programs. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, write a Java program to print the version of the Java that is installed in your machine. Let me answer. In order to retrieve and print the version of the Java that is installed in your machine using the Java program, we have to write this statement, guys. That is system.getProperty, and we have to pass the property name as java.version. This will retrieve you the version of the Java that is installed in your machine. Here system is a predefined class in Java and get property is one of the predefined static methods of the system class. Hence we can call this method directly with the class name system.getProperty. And to this get property, we can pass different properties, guys. When you pass java.version as a property name in double quotes for this get property method, then it will retrieve you the version of the Java that is installed in your machine. Okay, let me practically show you how to use this statement to retrieve the version of the Java that is installed in your machine. After retrieving, you can use the normal print statement in Java to print it out. Okay. So let's go to the practical mode where I'll switch to the Eclipse IDE and create a new class, guys. I'll just name this class as 9. And with main method, I'll create. And inside this main method, I'm going to create a, I'm going to write the code like this. System dot get property. You have to select this property. And in this double quotes, you have to pass the property name as java.version. Yes, java.version. Java.version. When you pass java.version, this get property method will retrieve you the version of the Java that is installed in your machine in the string format. Okay, you can see that over the mouse on this get property, the return type will come as string. So string Java version. String Java version is equal to, and print it out. Okay, system.out.println. Then Java version, I'll just print it out. Run the code. Right click run as Java application. Observe that in the output, you will get the version of the Java that is installed in your machine, that is 21.0.1. I'll go to the control panel. I'll just go to the control panel and just show you what is the version of the Java that is there in our machine. Uninstall a program, and if you go and find the Java software that is installed in my machine, so here is the machine 21.0.1 Java SC development kit 21.0.1 is the version which is properly printed in the output, right? The program has properly retrieved the correct version of the Java in my machine, and that is possible with the help of system.get property. The property name is java.version. So this is how, guys, by writing the Java code, we can retrieve the version of the Java installed in our machine, and thereafter we can print it out using the normal print statement. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, write a Java program to print operating system that is there in your machine, whether that is Mac operating system or Linux or Windows, which version of Windows, etc., etc. We have to write a Java program, okay, using which we should be able to retrieve the operating system that is there currently in your machine. And after that, after retrieving, we have to print it out using the normal print statement. Okay. So the answer is we have to use this statement known as system.getProperty. And to this particular method, we have to pass an argument or property name as os.name. Okay. So here in this statement, system is a predefined class in Java, and it has a lot of predefined methods, and get property is one of the predefined static method of system class. Hence, we are able to call this get property method with the help of system class directly, system.getProperty. And to this get property method, we are passing an argument, that is os.name, which is a property name. So by doing so, this get property with the help of this property name will retrieve the operating system name that is there in your machine. Okay. Let me practically demonstrate this for you. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as class 10. Okay, class 10, some random name, finish. And immediately after creating this thing, inside the main method, I'm going to write system dot get property. Okay, you just choose this one. And in this, provide double quotes. And you have to pass the argument that is os.name. Whatever you want, that is os.name is a property name. And now this get property will return you the string. Return type string operating system name or OS name, whatever short you can also call OS name. Some name you can give for this variable thing. And now you print it out, system.out.println. Just print it out, OS name here, and run the code. Observe that the operating system that I'm currently using in my machine is Windows 11 that got printed here. Okay, this is Windows 11 operating system, guys. Whatever the OS I'm using here is a Windows 11, which tomorrow, if I upgrade to any other operating, that particular operating system version will be printed here. Okay. So hope, guys, you got an idea with this practical demonstration how to retrieve the operating system that is there in your machine with the help of the system.getProperty, os.name, property name. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, write a Java program to print the username of the machine who is running this Java program. The answer is, we have to run this statement known as system.getProperty And as a property name, we have to pass user.name. Here in this statement, system is a predefined class in Java, and it has a lot of predefined methods, where get property is one of the predefined static method of the system class. Hence, we are able to call this method directly using the class name, that is system.getProperty. And in this getProperty method, we have to pass an argument in double quotes. The property name is user.name to retrieve the property of the machine. The username of the machine who is actually running this Java program. Okay, in your computer machine, there will be a lot of user profiles, right? Every user profile will have a username. So current user profile name or username of the user profile who is actually running this Java program, I would like to retrieve. Okay, and print in the output console. To retrieve that, I have to use this statement. To print it, I have to use a normal print statement in Java. So let me practically demonstrate this for you. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as class A, some random name with main method. Inside this class, I'm going to write system dot get property, and here in double quotes, I would pass user dot name as the property name. I have to pass this property name as an argument, and this will return you string, okay, username like this. I'll print it out, system.out.println, and I'll just print it out. Username, I'll print it out. Okay. So what is the username of the profile in this particular machine where I am the one, right? So what is the username of my profile for which I am using for running this particular Java program? If you want to find that, you just have to go to one location in your machine, guys. Okay, File Explorer. Okay, if you want to know about the current username who is running this particular thing, you just go here and simply go to this PC, and here go inside this drive, and here you have users folder. Go inside that, and you can see the username here. Okay, username of the profile of this particular operating system or machine I am running is Arunyam. This is a username. This username, it has to be retrieved with the help of the Java program. Let's see whether Arunyam will be printed in the output with the help of these things. System.getProperty user.name. Run this code and observe that in the output we'll get username, that is Arunyam, will be printed. So hope guys you got an idea how to write the Java program to print the username of the operating system profile who is actually running this Java program. Okay, with practical demonstration in this session. So we have tried this line to get that. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is how to create a file in Java. Let me answer. In order to create a file in Java, we have to use a predefined method in Java known as create new file method. This is a predefined method of file predefined class. Okay. So by creating an object for the file predefined class and using the object reference, we can call this method and then create the file. So let me practically demonstrate how to create a new file in Java using this create new file method. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE, and here I'm going to create a new class. I'll just name this class as class B. With main method, I'll create, and inside that main method, I'm going to, create a object for a file, new file, something like that. I'm going to create an object for a file. I'm going to import this file from java.io package. And here I have to provide the path of the file. So under this project with some name, at this moment, under this project, are there any files available? Yes, there is one file, moturi.txt file. I would like to create abc.txt file, a new file, okay? Instead of moturi.txt, I would like to create a new file, abc.txt file, a new file I would like to create. This file will be created directly under the project. This is a path, okay? Within the project, if you want to create a file, okay, you directly have to provide the name of the file and extension of the file. And here I'll simply say file is equal to file. And simply say file dot create new file. Okay, I'll just simply say create new file, file dot create new file. So hover the mouse on this, and there is a checked exception coming. Compiler is saying that the path provided or something is wrong kind of thing. There is some IO exception, input output exception may come, something kind of exception is possible here. It is saying either you have to surround this with try catch block in real time. You have to surround this with try catch block to handle the exception if there is a possibility where IO exception comes. But what if you are pretty sure that exception won't come? You can shut the mouth of the compiler by ignoring the exception by selecting this add throws declaration. Here, throws IO exception will come so that Java compiler will not inform you that there is a possibility of exception here. Okay, the code will look good and error will go off and you can run the code. Okay. And here I'll simply write down system.out.println just to know whether this program has been executed or not. End of this program, I'll just simply write just for demo purpose. When I run this code, before running the code, you see under this project, there is no file with the name abc.txt file under this project. But after I run the code, this create new file method will create the file. Okay, end of this program got printed. That means all the statements in the code has been executed. Now, if I refresh this project, I should see this file name abc.txt file under this project, directly under the project. Refresh here, you see abc.txt file has been created by this code. With the help of Java, we are able to create a file. And by using this, create new file predefined method of the file class. By creating an object for the file class and using that object reference, we have called the method create new file, and it has created the file with a given name and extension. And according to the path, it is a shortcut path directly under the project it has created. Okay. So hope guys you understood how to create a new file in Java with the help of create new file predefined method of Java. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the use of exists method in Java? Let me answer. In Java, we can use the exists method to check whether a file already exists or not. If it is already existing, then we don't have to create the file. If it is not there, then we can create a file. Okay. Just before creating a file, we use exists method to see whether the file is already there or not. If it is there, we'll not create. If it is not there, we'll create. Okay. To make that particular decision of whether to create a file or not, we use exists method. So exists method is going to return true when the file is already created. Okay. And so you will not create the file again. Whereas exists method, predefined method of the file predefined class in Java will return false if that particular file is not already there. In that case, we'll go forward and create the file. So hope guys you understood what is the purpose of the exists method, and exists method is a predefined method of the file predefined class in Java. Let me practically demonstrate how to use this exists method to make a decision of whether to create a file or not based on whether the file is already available or not. Okay, already created or not. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class here. Right click new. I'll just create a class. I'll just give some random name for the class. Let's say class C. And with the main method, I'll create. And inside the main method, I'm going to create a file. I mean, represent a file, first of all, not creating. File is equal to, or otherwise file1 is equal to new file. I'm going to represent a file using this file predefined class first. I'll hover the mouse and import this file predefined class from java.io package. And this constructor cannot be empty. Inside this constructor, I have to provide double quotes and give the path of the file. Let's say I would like to give the path of the file which actually exists. Okay, let's say in this particular project, here we have a file known as abc.txt file, which is already there. I'll give that abc.txt file here. abc.txt file. So this particular file is already there. So to check whether this particular abc.txt file is there under the project or not, okay, what to do? I can use exists method. So there may be a situation where I want to create this abc.txt file only if this particular file is not available in the project. In that case, what I can do? I can use exists method if file1 dot exists. This method I'll use. This predefined method of the file class I'm going to use. Using the object reference of the file class, I'm calling this exists method, and this exists method is going to check whether abc.text file is available at this given location. Under the project, if you can clearly see, abc.txt file is available. So exists method will return true. So if it returns true, I'll just print out saying that file already exists, hence not created, like this. Otherwise, if it doesn't exist, if this particular exist method returns false, then I would like to create the file. How to create a file? Using this object reference of the file class, I can call a method known as create dot file1 dot create new file. This particular method will create the file if this particular file doesn't exist. If this exists method return false, then only this else block will be executed and the file will be created. You are getting an error because a checked exception is coming from Java where there is a possibility of an exception. In real time, you have to surround this line with try catch block to handle the exception, possible exception. But now, just to make this a demonstration simple, I'm simply ignoring the exception by shutting the mouth of the compiler to not specify that there is a possibility of the exception. Okay, by adding this throws IO exception or by selecting that, the same thing will happen. Okay, now I'll simply write down at the end, I'll simply print out system.out.println end of this program. End of this program. Okay, now run the code, and this time you will see that abc.txt file is already there in the project, and at this location abc.txt file is there. Hence exist method will return true, and it will simply print out file already exists. It will not create a file again because it is already there in the project. Right click run as Java application and observe that since the file is already there, it won't be created. Okay, file already exists, hence not created. End of this program got printed. What if I do one more thing like file2 I'll say is equal to new file of I'll just give xyz.txt file this time. Okay, is xyz.txt file is there in this project? Just see here. No guys, it's not available. So I will use the same logic. I'll just copy paste the logic here. If file2 I'll say file2 dot exists. File2 dot exists will return false because xyz.txt file is not there here at the specified path under the project and all. So it will not go to the if block. Hence, it will not print file already exists, hence not created will not be printed. Instead, it will simply go to the else block and create the file, guys. Okay, here I'll simply say after creating the file, I'll print it out. Okay, it went to the else block means I'll just print it out. File got created. Okay, I'll simply say abc.txt file got created. Here I'll simply say system.out.println xyz.txt file got created. Okay, got created. So this time, let's see whether the file will get created or not. Okay, this time file should be created, guys, because xyz.txt file is not there in the project. Exist method will return false and will go to the else block and create new file will create the file and it will print out xyz file got created. And also, if I refresh the project, I'll get that xyz.txt file. Okay, run the code. For the first one, it will say file already exists, and for the second one, it will say xyz file got created. For the first file already exists and it's not created. xyz.txt file got created, end of the program. Now here you will not see anything, but if you refresh this project, right click and refresh the project, you will see that xyz, where is that file? Right click, refresh. I don't see that file. xyz.txt file need to be created, but it's not getting created. Sorry guys, what I did is I just forgot to update this. It's still file one. That's why it's not getting created. Let's update this one and run this code. Right click run as. This time xyz.txt file got created. I gave the proper object reference, guys. Okay. Now refresh this and you will see that xyz.txt file got created. So with practical demonstration, I've answered the use of exist method in Java. Exist method is used in Java to see whether the file already exists or not. Okay, why we have to use, what is the purpose of using exist method? If the file doesn't exist, we'll create that. The file exists, we'll not create that. For that purpose, to cross check whether the file is already there, to create, whether to decide to create a file or not, we use exist method in Java. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is how to create a folder in Java. Let me answer. In order to create a folder in Java, we have to use a predefined method known as mkdir. Okay. This is a predefined method of a predefined class known as file class in Java. Okay. File predefined class in Java has this predefined method known as mkdir, using which we can create a folder. Now let me practically show you how to create a folder using this command in Java. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class here. I'm just right clicking here and I'm going to create a new class. I'll just name this class with some random name, say, let's say class D. With main method, I'll create. And inside the main method, first I will, represent the folder that I would like to create. Okay. So here in this project, if you see, do we have any existing folders here? No, folders are not there. Some packages are there, but nowhere folders are there. I would like to create a folder with some name. I would like to first represent that folder using the file class, file folder. Folder one is equal to new file. Like this, I'll create a folder. Okay. Import this file class from java.io package. And after that, this constructor cannot be empty. Here, I'm going to provide the name of the folder. For example, I would like to create a sample1 folder. Okay. Sample1 is the name of the folder I want to create under this project. At this moment, under this project, there's no sample1 folder available, but I would like to create a sample1 folder. So to create that sample1 folder, I'll simply say folder1 dot mkdir. Use this command, guys, mkdir. This command will create the folder. Okay. This command, mkdir command, will create the folder. So I'll simply write down system.out.println end of this program so that we'll know that the program got executed. End of this program. Once the program execution completes, I'll refresh the project to see whether the folder has been created with the sample1 name. And we have used mkdir predefined method of the file class to do so. End of this program printed. Now refresh this project and observe that you see sample1 folder has been created here. So this is how in Java we can create a folder using the mkdir predefined method of the file predefined class. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is there any shortcut representation for initializing an array list with elements in Java? The answer is yes. In Java, we have a shortcut representation for initializing the array list with elements. But before going there, what is the normal way of initializing this array list without using shortcut and all? For that, we have to use a predefined method known as add method, using which we can add as many number of elements as we want to this particular array list. So I'm going to demonstrate both the things. What is the normal way without using the shortcut way by using the add method, how to initialize this array list with elements. And later I'll show you what is a shortcut representation. This is a shortcut representation, guys. Whatever I'm highlighting here is a shortcut representation. Everything I'm going to show you practically, guys. Let's look into this shortcut representation where we are creating an object for the array list. And in the constructor of this array list, we are passing this part. We are using arrays.asList and some elements. Here, arrays is a predefined class in Java, and it has a lot of predefined methods. One of such kind of predefined method is asList predefined method. AsList is one of the static predefined methods of the arrays class. That's why you are able to call this method directly with the help of class name, arrays.asList. To this asList, I'm passing all the elements that I want to initialize this array list with. Okay. But what's happening in this constructor? Array list, and this is the constructor, and we are passing this arrays.asList 9571, whatever the elements. And this result of this asList method of the arrays will return a list. Okay. That is an argument for this array list constructor. And once that list of elements will go as an argument for this array list will automatically get initialized with this list of elements. Okay, we don't have to write multiple lines to initialize, this array list with all these different elements, separate lines like 9, 5, 7, 1. We don't have to write. Okay, this is shortcut representation, guys. Whatever I'm showing you is a shortcut representation. To understand more the answer for this particular question, let me practically demonstrate. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE. And in the Eclipse IDE, I'm going to create any class, some random class. Let's say class E, I'll say, with main method I'll create. Inside the main method, I'm going to create the array list first. Okay. I'll show you the normal way of initializing the array list with elements. First, I'll create an object for the array list, guys. Okay. I'll first create an object for the array list. So I'll simply say array list, a list is equal to new array list. Like this, I'll create an object for the array list class. Over the mouse on this array list and import it from java.util package. And after that, you'll get a warning messages here. Why? Because when you're creating an object for the array list, you have to specify what type of objects you want to store into this array list. For that, you have to provide less than symbol and greater than symbol. Okay. This kind of symbols you have to specify beside the array list so that warning messages will go off first. And inside this less than greater than symbols, we have to specify which type of objects you want to store into this array list. For example, if I want to store integer, so integer wrapper class name I have to provide. We should not be provide int primitive data type here because collections framework predefined classes will not accept primitive data type values. They'll only accept the objects, guys. Okay. So that's why instead of int primitive data type, I have to provide integer if you want to store integer type of objects into this or integer elements into this array list. And other side, after the new keyword also we have less than greater than symbol. Either you can keep it empty or you can also type the same integer here. It's up to you. This is optional though, but this is compulsory. And now this constructor is empty. The normal way of initializing this array list with the elements, this constructor is empty, guys. So if I want to add some elements to this array list in the normal representation, constructor will be empty. And using the object reference, I'm going to call a method known as add method. Okay. And here I need to pass the object. Here 9 is an integer object. And like that, I can, pass many number of objects. 9, 5. 5 is the second object I'm passing. Then a list dot add of 7. I'm passing a list dot add of 8. I'm passing. Okay, like that 4 elements I'm passing. 4 elements I have 4 objects or object elements I'm passing or adding or initializing this array list with. This is a normal way of initializing the array list. If I print it out, a list. If I print out this array list and run this code, you see all these 4 objects that got initialized to the array list will get printed here 9, 5, 7, 8. Okay, like that they will be initialized and they will be printed. Now, what if I don't want to go with the normal way of initializing this array list, which requires more lines of code, right? I would like to reduce this 11 to 14 lines. I would like to remove. I don't want to write this extra lines. For that to happen, what I will do is inside this constructor, I would write a predefined class known as arrays class dot as list. I have to call a predefined static method of the arrays class known as list. And in this as list, you pass all the values that you want to. Okay, 9, 5, 7, 8, right? All these 4 elements or object elements. Okay, 9, 5, 7, 8. And this is not required anymore. That's it, guys. This is a shortcut representation of initializing the array list with multiple elements. Okay, 9, 5, 7, 8. So this arrays.asList will return you a list of elements. You see, it will return you a list. List is being passed as an argument while calling this array list constructor. And because of which internally what's happening, array list is getting initialized with all these elements. That's how the things are working. Run as Java application. You will get the same output, guys, with a shortcut representation of initializing the array list with elements. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the most used collection in collections framework in Java? Collections framework in Java contains a lot of predefined classes and interfaces. And out of all those, what is the most used collection in collections framework? The answer is array list, guys. Okay. So a lot of people use array list for several reasons. One of the reason is array list is flexible in size. Okay. So there is no fixed size in the array list. That's the number one reason. And the second thing is indexing concept. In array list, we have indexing concept. The first element you add will be stored into the index 0. And second element you add, it will be stored at the index 1. So positions will be maintained. Order will be reserved in which you are adding the elements to the array list. So indexing is the other thing. And the third thing is ease of use, guys. Okay, array list concept almost looks similar to arrays. Okay, where arrays are fixed in size, but array list is flexible in size. It can grow in size. And along with that, similar to arrays, array list also has indexing concept. And it's easy to use because it's similar to arrays. It looks similar to arrays, like same indexing concept, the loops and all those stuff. Okay. So because of which, out of all the collections we have in the collections framework in Java, ArrayList is the most used one. So let me practically demonstrate how to use ArrayList, I'm going to prove you how ArrayList is flexible in size, and what is the indexing concept in ArrayList, and why it looks similar to arrays, and what is the easy way of using it, and adding the elements, or retrieving the elements and printing. All those things I am going to demonstrate in a single program. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE, and I'm going to create a new class, guys, here. So old class, I'll just remove it from here, and I'm going to create a new class. So here, class, right click new class. Yep. Okay. With main method, I'll create. And inside this main method, I'm going to write code for array list. Array list, a list is equal to new array list. Like this, we have to create an object for the array list. And after that, hover the mouse on the array list and import it from java.util package. And after that, you see warning messages are coming. So we have to provide the type of the objects we would like to store into the array list. For that, we have to provide less than greater than symbol beside the array list. And here, which type of elements you, or which type of objects you want to store? Integer, let's say, okay? Would like to type integer objects. So integer wrapper class I'm providing. And now I would like to add the elements a list dot add of. If I add this object 9 here, this will be stored at the index 0. A list dot add of 5. It will be stored at the index 1. A list dot add of 7. This will be stored at the index 2. A list dot add of 8. This will be stored at the index 3. Okay. We can store the array elements, array list elements like this, and they will be stored according to an order. Because of the indexing concept, the elements are getting stored in a proper order. Okay. And also one more advantage is there with array list, where duplicate elements also can be added. Okay. If you want to add multiple times as an element to this array list, you can add because of differentiation with the help of indexing concept. Okay. So here are the flexible in size. You can keep on adding as many number of elements. While creating the array list, we are not fixing the size of the array list. Okay. How many elements you want? You want 4, you can add. You want 10 after this creation. If you want to add 10 elements, you can add, and so on. Okay. So that's flexible in size. Indexing concept is making it more interesting, where, duplicate elements can be stored, and positions are reserved. Okay. The order in which they are added, the same order they will be stored into the memory. There's another thing, ease of use. Because of the indexing concept, this array list concept looks similar to the arrays. For example, in arrays also we use the for loop, right? For int I is equal to 0, I less than the size of this array list, that is a list dot size, then I plus plus. Okay. Now system dot out dot println a list dot get command of I. Okay. You see, almost similar to arrays, right? But in arrays we have square brackets, whereas here we have predefined methods like add and get, but most of the things are same, and it's flexible in size, growable in size. There is the index concept, and also it's ease of use. If you have already used arrays, you can easily use array list. Okay. Not only these guys, run the code. Not only this, you can also use for each loop with array list, which is a simplified form of loop 9578. You see, instead of for loop, you can also use for each loop. Just create a differentiation here, and then I'll create a for each loop. For each and every element of this array list is of which data type, which type, integer type. Okay. For integer element, array element, let's say array list element, a list, I'll say. You can give any name here for this thing. And here simply print it out, system.out.println key, and run the code. Again, the array list elements will be retrieved and printed. Okay. So it's very simple and easy to use, guys, when compared to other collections in collections framework. So if you get this kind of question in the interviews, that is what is the most used collection is collections framework in Java. Even per my knowledge and per my real-time experience, apart from these advantages, I agree with array list as the most used collections in collections framework. Okay, you may not have to answer this in a theoretical way. Sometimes you can say that, okay, in my past projects, wherever I have worked, most of the cases I have seen, I have been using array list in my automation. Okay, in my frameworks, automation frameworks, etc. Array list was the suitable for most of my cases. So I believe that array list is the most used collection. Like that, you can give the answer, and along with that, you can give this kind of additional information so that the interviewer will like your answer. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is how to create an array list in Java. Let me answer. In order to create an array list in Java, we have to create an object for array list predefined class from java.util package, like using the new keyword and followed by the name of the predefined class from java.util package, that is array list, we can create an array list in Java. Okay. And also, after this predefined class, that is array list predefined class, we have to mention less than and greater than symbol and provide the type of the objects that you would like to store into this array list as a list of elements or objects. So let me practically demonstrate how to create an array list in Java. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE, and here I'm going to create a new class. I'll just name this class as class G, some random name with main method. So once the class is created and inside the main method, I'm going to create an array list. How to create an array list? Using the new keyword followed by the name of the predefined class known as array list. Array list is a predefined class in Java. Okay, and I can import this array list from java.util package of Java. And after that array list, we have to provide less than greater than symbol. And followed by that, you have to provide circular brackets. Okay, this becomes array list constructor. And here, an extra thing that we have to do in array list is that we have to add less than greater than symbol. Now, once the object is created for this array list, we can create an object reference which refers to this particular object. Okay, we have to give some name which refers to this particular object created for the array list. I'll just give some name, some random name like a list, and I have to declare this a list, some or random name given for object reference with the same array list class. And here, after this array list, as you can see, warning is coming saying that array list is a raw type, reference to generic type array list. Here we have to provide the generic type here. Okay. So inside this, we have to again provide less than greater than symbol here also. And here inside this, we have to provide the type of the objects that you would like to store into this array list. So you cannot provide primitive data types here, guys. Like in arrays, you can provide integer array like that. But here in array list, you cannot provide in primitive data type. Okay. Instead, you have to use wrapper classes, object-oriented variation of that in primitive data type. That is a integer wrapper class type you can provide. If you want to store integer objects into this array list, then integer wrapper class. If you want to store some names in string literals, let's say string class, you can give. Or if you want to store some decimal objects, decimal wrapper class instead of if you want to store some decimal values here, double wrapper class you can give instead of double primitive data type. Like that, you have to give the wrapper classes or string, or you can give object if you want to store different type of elements, okay, into this array list. So, and here guys, here also we have less than greater than symbol. It's not compulsory that you have to specify the same type that you have declared it here. You can keep it empty at that. I mean to say that you can keep it empty, and it's optional to write the same type here. Integer, integer, you can write the same type. Okay. So, but it's not compulsory that this side you don't have to give the type here. If you give this during the declaration that the type of the objects that you are trying to store into this array list, okay, multiple objects type that you are trying to store into this array list, by specifying this type here as integer, string, object, etc., etc. here, okay, it's optional to give it here. If you give, no problem. If you don't give, also no problem. This is how we have to create array list in Java. So hope guys you got the answer for this question. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is how to add elements to array list in Java? Let me answer. In order to add elements to the array list in Java, we have to use a predefined method, that is add method. So how to use this add method to add the elements to this array list? I'm going to show you practically now. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class here. I'll just name this class with some random name. I'll just name this as class H for now, and with main method I'll create. Inside the main method that got created here, first I'm going to create an array list. Array list, a list is equal to new array list. Like this, I'll create an object for the array list. I'll import this array list predefined class from java.util package. After that, you see you are getting some warning messages because after the predefined class name, we have to specify which type of objects that you want to store into this array list. So let's say I would like to store string kind of values, okay? String literal values. So I'll just mention string here inside the less than greater than symbols beside this array list. Now I'll use this object reference of array list and simply say dot add. I'll call this add method with the help of object reference. Add predefined method belongs to array list predefined class, and using this method we can add the objects to this array list. So here inside the add method, since I would like to add string objects to this array list, I'll just give the string objects in double quotes. I'll just give my name, let's say Arun. Again, I'll say a list dot add of. I'll say Varun, and then a list dot add of. I'll say Tarun. Okay, like this, I'll add as many number of objects that I want to add to this array list. Okay. So the simple answer for this question is how to add elements or objects to the array list in Java using the add predefined method. You see, using this add predefined method, we can add the elements to the array list. Fine. So how to know whether this particular elements have been added to the array list? I can print out the array list system.out.println a list. If I say and run the code, you'll observe that these elements that got added to the array list will get printed here. Okay, array list got printed like this with the elements that have been added with the help of add method. So hope guys with practical demonstration I answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is how to retrieve elements from an array list in Java. Let me answer. In order to retrieve the elements from an array list in Java, we have to use a predefined method known as get method. Get method is a predefined method of the array list class using which we can retrieve the elements from the array list. Actually, we have to use the get method like this to retrieve the elements from array list, that is get of index. Here we have to specify the index value of a particular element that you want to retrieve from the array list. Later, the retrieved value can be printed in the output using print statements in Java. Okay, let me practically demonstrate how to use this get of index command with array list to retrieve a particular element and print in the output console. Okay, with practical demonstration. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just create a new class. I'll just name this class as class I with main method. Inside the main method, I'm going to create an array list. A list is equal to new array list, and have to hover the mouse on the array list and import this array list from java.util package. After that, I have to specify less than greater than symbols and specify the type of objects I would like to store into this array list. Let's say I would like to store double type of data. Here it's optional to specify, but I'll specify. Now to this array list, I would like to add some objects, that is double type objects. A list dot add of 9.16 is the first object I am adding. A list dot add of 3.42. A list dot add of 6.37, A list dot add of 5.86, then A list dot add of 4.39. Like that, some objects I've added to the array list. Now what I want to do here is this particular first object that is added to the array list will be, stored at the index 0. Okay. In the array list, it will be stored at the index 0 for the memory that is allocated to this array list while creating, right? In that object memory, okay, this first element will be stored at the index 0, second element at the index 1, third element at the index 2, fourth element at the index 3, fifth element at the index 4, like this, at different indexes starting from 0. These elements will be stored. Now, if you have to retrieve this particular elements from the array list in Java, we have to use a method known as get method, that is with the help of get of index. For example, if I say get of, that is how to call the get method using the object reference of the array list. So I have to first say a list dot get of. I have to provide the index. If I give the index as 2 here, so here at the index 2, which value is stored? 6.37 is stored. Get method will return you 6.37. So here I'll write down double, that is E2 or something, okay, element 2 or something. I'll print it out. System.out.println, E2, just print it out. It will print the 6.37 as the output. Run the code. Can make it simple actually. 6.37 will be printed. The element which is at the index 2 will be printed. So instead of this, I'll print it out. System.out.println a list dot get of 2. Okay, directly it will retrieve the get method from the index 2. Whatever the value that is stored in the array list will be retrieving that particular element value, and then this print statement will be printing that. Okay, now run the code, you will get the same output. This is how we have to use a get method, guys. Okay, this is how we have to use a get method to retrieve the elements from the array list. So hope guys, with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. That is how to use get method to retrieve the elements from the array list. Okay, get method should be used in this format, get of index. The element which is available in that array list at that particular index position will be retrieved using get of index method of the array list. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, can we print an array list in Java? Let me answer. The answer is yes. We can print an array list in Java directly. So in order to print an array list, in the print statement, we have to pass the name of the array list. Then all the elements in the array list will be printed in the output console. Let me practically demonstrate this one for you. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as class J with main method. So inside the main method, I'm going to create an array list first. Array list, a list is equal to new array list. Like this, I need to create an object for the array list. Hold the mouse on the array list and import this array list from java.util package. Now here provide less than greater than symbols. And inside this, try to specify the type of objects that you would like to store into this array list. For example, I would like to store integer objects into this array list. You can specify integer here. It's optional whether you want to specify integer here or not. Whether you provide or not doesn't matter. Okay. Now let's add some objects, integer objects into this array list. For that, a list dot add of, I'll say 9. Similarly, I'll say a list dot add of 5. Then I will say a list dot add of 7. Like this, some 3 integer objects I have added. Now, The question here is, can we print an array list in Java? The answer is yes. Just write out a print statement, system.out.println. Here, inside the print statement, pass the name of the array list like this. What will happen? All the elements in the array list will be printed. We can directly print an array list in Java without any problem. And when you print so, all the elements in the array list will be printed like this. So hence the answer is yes. With practical demonstration, I have practically shown you that we can print all the elements in the array list in Java directly by passing the name of the array list to the print statement. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, can we specify primitive data types while creating array list in Java? The answer is no. The array list belongs to collections framework. All the predefined classes or the items that you create under the collections framework, including array list, can only store objects. We can only assign objects to the array list or other collections framework related classes like hash set, hash map, etc. But primitive data types cannot be, okay? The values of the primitive data types cannot be assigned to array list, guys. Array list only will accept objects. Hence, while creating an array list, you cannot specify primitive data type. You have to specify the wrapper class of that associated primitive data type. In case of int primitive data type, we have to specify integer wrapper class. Only object oriented is allowed in array list. Hence, the answer is no. Can we specify primitive data types while creating array list? The answer is no, guys. We'll get a compiler error. Let me practically demonstrate this for you. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as a class K. With main method, I'll create. Inside the main method, I'm going to create an array list. Array list, a list is equal to new array list. Like this, I can create an array list. I'll import this array list from java.util package. Now here, I need to specify which type of, okay, beside this array list, you see, if I don't specify this less than greater than symbol here, I'm getting a warning messages. You see, yellow color warning messages are coming in Eclipse IDE. The reason is here, beside the array list, have to specify less than greater than symbols. And in that less than greater than symbols, we have to specify the type of the objects that you would like to store into this particular created array list. If you specify primitive data type like int here, immediately you're going to get a compiler error, syntax error, insert dimensions to complete reference type, some kind of compiler error you will get. The reason behind that is array list can only store objects. But here int primitive data type is non-object oriented in Java, and because of which you are getting a compiler error. So instead of int, if you want to store integer objects into this array list, you cannot specify int primitive data type. You have to specify the associated wrapper class for int primitive data type, that is integer. You can specify integer, any object oriented thing you can specify in between the less than and greater than symbols, guys, okay? But you cannot specify primitive data type int here. So hope guys, with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. Can we specify primitive data types in the array list creation statement? The answer is no. Instead, we'll get a compiler error. So we have to specify the wrapper classes or object-oriented data types only, not primitive data types. Object-oriented data types like wrapper class types or string class, any object-oriented things in Java we can specify while creating the array list, but not the primitive data types. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, how to initialize an array list in Java. Let me answer. In order to initialize an array list in Java, there are two ways. First way is a normal way where you are going to use this add method of this array list predefined class in order to add or initialize the elements to this array list. The other way is a shortcut way where we don't need many lines. While creating the array list itself, we can pass those elements that you want to initialize to this array list. Okay, the same line where you're creating the array list, you can specify. There are the two ways. These are the two ways. Let me practically demonstrate so that you will understand how to initialize an array list in Java in these two ways. For that, I'll switch to the Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as some random name, say class K with main method. I'll show you the normal way of initializing the array list in Java. So I'll create an array list first of all. Array list a list is equal to new array list. Like this, I'll create an object for this array list. Import this array list from java.util package. So here, provide the less than greater than symbols, okay, to overcome that warning messages. And here, which type of objects that you want to initialize to this array list. Let's say integer type of objects. I'll just write the integer object-oriented wrapper class, okay? I cannot write primitive data type here. So objects only can be assigned or initialized to this array list. So I have to specify integer. Here it is optional whether you want to provide integer or not. If you keep it blank also, it's fine. Now, if you want to initialize this array list with some elements or objects, I have to say, I have to use this object reference dot, I have to use add method. There's a method known as predefined method known as add method, using which we can initialize this array list with objects or elements. I'll just write 9 here. First element got initialized to the array list. You can initialize this array list with any number of elements. For example, I'll take 3 elements for now. Okay. So this is the process of one process of initializing this array list with these elements. Is there any other way to initialize? If you don't want to write this many number of lines, is there any other way? Yes. While creating the array list only, here you have to write arrays dot as list. Okay, arrays dot as list you have to say. And inside the circular brackets of as list, you provide the values 957 that you want. This 957 will be initialized to this array list. So you don't have to write this many lines anymore. Okay. In the same line where you are creating the array list, this is shortcut way of initializing the array list. Okay, in Java. Normal way is by using this add method, and the shortcut way is by, in the same creation statement itself, array list object creation statement itself, or array list creation statement itself, you can pass this. So this array list constructor, you have to pass this list written by this as list method. Arrays is a predefined class in Java, and it has a lot of static methods, predefined static methods. One such kind of static method is as list. Using the as list predefined static method of arrays class, okay, we have to pass the elements or objects that you want to initialize to this array list. Okay, by doing this, we can initialize this array list in a shortcut way. Otherwise, if you don't initialize using this shortcut way, you have to use this add method as I showed you to initialize. Okay, so these are the two ways of initializing an array list in Java. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is array list fixed in size? The answer is no. Array list is not fixed in size. Coming to the arrays, they are fixed in size, but array list is not fixed in size. In arrays, when you create an array, you have to specify the size of the array. And once you specify the size of the array there, in the later portion of the code after creating that array, we cannot modify the size of the array. While creating the array itself, we have to specify the size, and the size is going to be final for the rest of the code. But coming to the array list, while creating the array list, we don't have to specify the size of the array list, and we can increase the size of array list as much as you want, because array list is not fixed in size. Let me practically demonstrate the answer for this question. That is array list fixed in size? The answer is no. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as class L. With main method, I'll create. And here, I'm going to create an array list. Array list, a list is equal to new array list. Import this array list from java.util package. And here, specify the type of objects that you would like to store into this array list. Let's say I would like to store integer objects. You see, while creating this array list, I'm not specifying the size anywhere, right? While creating this array list, I don't have to specify the size anywhere. That means how many elements I can store into this array list. I don't have to specify while creating the array list. So I can keep on adding as many number of elements, guys. For example, here 9, a list dot add 7, a list dot add of 5. I can keep on going, guys. There is no limit for this. Okay, there is no limit for this. You see, there is no size. There's no fixed size for this array list. Hence, you can keep on adding as many number of elements here. 1, 2, 10, 20, 100, 1,000 elements also you can add to this array list without compromising the size. Hence, array list is not fixed in size. After creating the array list also, you can add as many number of elements or objects you want to add to this array list without compromising with the size, because array list is not fixed in size. The answer is no. Is array list fixed in size? No. Arrays are fixed in size. Arrays limitation is that arrays are fixed in size. While creating the arrays, we have to specify the size, and the size cannot be modified in the rest of the code. Coming to the array list, you don't have to specify the size of the array list. That is how many elements you want to store into the array list while creating the array list. And in the rest of the code, you can keep increasing the size of the array list as much as you want to. Okay. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is how to convert an array to list in Java. Let me answer. In order to convert an array to a list in Java, we have to use arrays predefined class and its predefined static method known as list. By using this arrays.asList, we can convert an array to list in Java. So let me practically demonstrate how to convert an array to a list in Java. And during the conversion, arrays.asList will not convert primitive data type arrays to the list directly. If you are specifying the primitive data type arrays, first we have to convert the primitive data type arrays to the wrapper class object-oriented type arrays, and then specify to this asList method so that it can convert. So this is the line we have to use for converting the primitive data type of arrays to the wrapper class type of arrays, and then specifying that wrapper class array type to this asList will convert into the list case. Okay. So don't worry, guys. Let me practically demonstrate. You will understand everything. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as class M. With main method, I'll create. And inside the main method, I'm going to create an array list, an integer array list. It's a primitive data type array. AR is equal to, I'll give some elements like 9, 1, 5, 7. Some 4 elements, some 4 random elements I'm giving. Now, I cannot directly convert this primitive data type array to a list in Java using arrays.asList method. So before doing that, I have to convert this primitive data type array to a wrapper class, associated wrapper class array type, that is integer wrapper class array. For doing that, we have to use this line, arrays.stream. Okay, there's something known as stream. Inside the stream, you have to pass this array name. And after that, you have to say dot boxed. Then we have to say dot to array. Okay, then you have to say to array and put a semicolon here. Inside this to array, you have to put the resultant. You have to convert this integer array to primitive data type integer array to integer wrapper class array. So whatever the result I want, I'll just specify that here, integer array wrapper class, double quote, double colon, and say new. And here I'll say IAR, different name I am giving. Over the mouse on this and say create local variable, the return type will come here, integer array. Now this primitive data type array, integer array has been converted to wrapper class integer array. Now this kind of wrapper class array can be converted to the list in Java using arrays.asList command. To this asList command, you specify this IAR, which is integer wrapper class type. You cannot specify this AR here, guys, okay? Because primitive data type arrays cannot be converted to list directly. You'll get some problems. So you have to first convert that into wrapper class array types and object oriented or wrapper class array types. and then specify that to as list. Now as list will convert as list predefined static method of arrays predefined class of Java will convert this array to a list. Over the mouse, you see a list will come. Okay, I'll just write this as li. Hold the mouse on this li and say create local variable. List of integer has come. Now print it out. System.out.println li. So this is the code you have to write, guys, for converting an array to a list in Java. If it's a primitive data type array, you have to first convert it to the wrapper class array type, and then using arrays.asList, we can convert that to the list. Okay. If it is a directly a wrapper class array, this step is not required, guys. Directly you specify to the asList method of the arrays class, and it will directly convert to the list. So run the code and see whether this list elements, okay, the list elements are getting printed. You see, and 9157 got printed. We have successfully converted an array to list in Java using this arrays.asList and this extra command, which is required for converting from primitive data type array to a wrapper class array type. Okay, with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you in this session. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, does array list has indexing in Java? Let me answer. The answer is yes. Array list has indexing in Java, where the first element that is assigned or initialized to this array list will have the index as 0, and the next element will have the index as 1, and so on. So similar to arrays, array list also has indexing or follows the indexing concept in Java. Let me practically demonstrate this for you. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE, where I'm going to create a new class. I'll just name this class with some random name, say class N, with some main method. And inside this main method, I'm going to create an array list. Array list, a list is equal to new array list. Like this, I'll create an array list and provide the circular brackets. I'll import this array list from java.util package. So hover the mouse on the array list and import it from java.util package. You are getting some warning messages because you need to specify the type of objects that you would like to store into this array list. Okay, here also specify the less than greater than symbol. Inside this less than greater than symbol, you specify the type of objects. For example, you would like to store some, let's say, string objects into the array list. Okay, you can store integer objects, string objects, whatever the objects you want, but I am storing string objects into this array list. I simply say a list dot add of, I'll say Arun. The moment you say a list dot add of, the first element or object that is initialized or assigned or getting assigned to this array list with the help of this add method will be stored at the index 0. Okay, for the object that is allocated for this array list, in that object, okay, in the first slot, that is which is having the index as 0, the index 0, you can say index 0, this Arun will be stored. A list dot add of, I'll just give another name, Varun. So this Varun will be stored at the index 1. Then a list dot add of, I'll say Tarun. This Tarun will be stored at the index 2. Now, if I would like to retrieve this objects or elements of this array list with the help of index, I can use get method. System.out.println. If I say a list, which is array list dot get of, I have to specify the index. For example, if I give the index as 0, Arun will be retrieved and printed here. Okay, this will return you the Arun, and print statement will print it out. Okay, now if I say system.out.println a list dot get of 2, if I say this get method of this array list with the help of this index 2 will retrieve Arun and will print in the output console. System.out.println a list dot get of 1, if I say this get method of this array list with the help of the index 1 will retrieve this Varun and print in the output console. Okay, run this. So you will get first you will get Arun printed, then Tarun will be printed because index 2 is there. Index 1 Varun will be printed. Okay, so this program proves that array list has indexing concept. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. That is, does array list in Java has indexing or follow indexing concept? The answer is X. Okay, the answer is yes. And index starts from 0 in the array list. Okay. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, can primitive arrays be directly converted to list in Java? The answer is no. Primitive arrays cannot be directly converted to a list in Java. First, we need to convert these primitive arrays to wrapper class array type. And then using this arrays dot as list by passing that wrapper class array type, we can convert the primitive arrays to list, but not directly, guys. There is one more step in between. So instead of directly converting this primitive arrays to a list in Java, first we have to convert this primitive arrays to wrapper class arrays. And after that, you pass this wrapper class array, converted wrapper class array to this arrays dot as list command, and this will convert into the list. So the answer is no, if it is directly, but if you follow this three-step process, then it is possible to convert a primitive type array into a list, but not directly, guys. Let me practically demonstrate and prove you that. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just give some random name for this class. Let's say class O with main method. And here, inside this main method, I'm going to first create an integer array. Okay, primitive data type array. Let's say AR is equal to, in curly braces, I'll provide 9, 1, 5, 7, some random numbers. Now, this primitive data type array can be directly converted to a list in Java. Is it possible to directly convert this primitive data type array to a list in Java? The answer is no. We cannot directly convert. So what I have to do? First, I have to convert this primitive data type array to a associated wrapper class type array, object oriented or class type array. For that to happen, I have to use arrays dot, okay, stream. In the stream, we have to pass this array name, that is AR, that you want to convert into the wrapper class array type. Then I have to say boxed. Then I have to say to array, and I have to put a semicolon here. Inside this to array method, I have to write down the resultant array type. The associated resultant array type for this integer primitive data type array to the wrapper class array type is integer wrapper class. Okay, integer array you have to specify here. After that integer array, specify the resultant integer array, colon, and say new. Now here, give some name, say IAR, integer array or something for them, other than whatever the name it has, just give some other name for the mouse and say create local variable. You see now this AR array, which is of primitive array type, has been converted into IAR, which is a wrapper class, associated wrapper class array type. Now I can use arrays dot as the list command. And in this as list predefined static method of arrays class, if I pass this integer array, integer wrapper class array, then we can convert. We cannot pass this AR here. Okay. Primitive data type array using this as list method cannot be directly converted into the list. First, I have to convert this primitive data type array to a wrapper class associated wrapper class array using this statement. Then by passing this converted wrapper class array type to this as list static predefined method of arrays class, we can create a list. Okay. I'll say list for the mouse on this and say create local variable list of integer. Okay. Now print it out, system.out.println, just print out the list. And you will see that it will get converted to a list. You see, list got printed in the output. So the answer is no, because we cannot directly convert a primitive data type array to a list. Rather, first we have to convert the primitive data type array to a wrapper class, associated wrapper class array type. And from there, we have to convert that into a list with the help of this arrays.asList predefined method. So with practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye.